The internet doesn't create obsession. It reveals it, amplifies it, and sometimes lets it spiral completely out of control.
6, 7.
In late 2022, a TikTok began quietly circulating beyond its usual audience. Shot outdoors during the first snowfall of the year, it looked harmless at first. A woman dancing softly to John Lennon's Happy Christmas, War is Over. The mood was reflective, peaceful, almost solemn. Then the video stopped. Text appeared on screen, counting time with chilling precision. Months, days, hours, minutes, all tracking a single moment of loss. Not a real death, not a global tragedy, but the death of Eddie Munson, a fictional character from Netflix's Stranger Things. That video pushed its creator, known online as Sarah Rar, into the wider public eye. And once people looked closer, they realized this wasn't just fandom. This was something else entirely. Sarah, a woman in her mid-20s from New York, had already built a TikTok presence long before that video. But Eddie Munson changed everything. Introduced in season 4 of Stranger Things and portrayed by actor Joseph Quinn, Eddie quickly became a breakout fan favorite. For most viewers, that admiration stayed within the boundaries of edits, fan art, and emotional reactions. For Sarah, it became a fixation. Her page began to revolve almost exclusively around Eddie Munson. Hundreds of posts, slideshows, emotional monologues, and eventually, long-running narrative series, dozens of parts imagining an entire life lived alongside the character. These videos blurred the line between fan fiction and personal reality, often becoming explicit enough that some of her accounts were reportedly removed. What made this stand out wasn't just volume, it was intensity. Sarah didn't simply like Eddie Munson, she spoke to him, celebrated milestones with him, mourned him as if he were a real person who had been taken away. In one recurring theme, she framed his death as a personal loss that the world refused to take seriously. And when viewers questioned it, she didn't back down, she explained it. In multiple videos, Sarah suggested she was drawn to fictional men because of her upbringing, referencing emotional neglect, unstable relationships, and disappointment with real-life partners. In another instance, she claimed her connection to Eddie Munson stemmed from a deceased best friend who reminded her of the character. That claim later drew skepticism after online users alleged the image she shared did not belong to someone she knew personally. By this point, curiosity had turned into scrutiny. The more attention Sarah received, the more inconsistencies viewers claimed to notice, not just about Eddie Munson, but about her life as a whole. Stories that shifted, claims that changed, dramatic incidents that appeared on camera without corroboration.
I'm mentally ill with brown hair, messy room, clothes everywhere. Mommy was never really there, mommy was never really there.
Still, none of that stopped her momentum. Eventually, Sarah attended a fan convention where she met Joseph Quinn in person. Photos circulated, clips spread. To some, it was a harmless fan meeting a celebrity. To others, it marked the moment where fantasy and reality finally collided. But the Eddie Munson obsession was only the surface. Behind it sat a growing list of controversies, allegations of dishonesty, boundary-crossing behavior, plagiarism, and later, far more serious accusations tied to the content she shared online. And as the audience grew, so did the backlash. Because the question people started asking wasn't, why does she love this character so much? It was something far darker. How far is too far before fandom becomes something else entirely? As Sarah's page continued to grow, the Eddie Munson obsession stopped being the most interesting thing about her. It became the entry point. Viewers who stayed long enough began to notice a pattern. Stories would appear suddenly, fully formed, and emotionally charged, only to quietly change later. Details shifted, timelines blurred, and when people asked questions, the answers rarely stayed consistent for long. One of the first cracks appeared around Sarah's personal relationships. Despite presenting herself online as emotionally devoted to a fictional character, Sarah had a real-life boyfriend, a fact she mentioned sparingly and almost reluctantly. In contrast, her live streams told a different story. She openly flirted with men in her chat, frequently inviting them on panel, showering them with attention while thousands watched. Some became recurring figures, others disappeared just as quickly as they arrived. Then there was her best friend, someone whose home she reportedly stayed at often. According to statements that later circulated publicly, boundaries were crossed. Allegations surfaced claiming Sarah had cheated on her boyfriend multiple times, including incidents involving people within her own social circle. These weren't anonymous rumors. They came from individuals who said they had direct, personal involvement. Around the same time, Sarah's storytelling on TikTok grew increasingly dramatic. She claimed she was assaulted in a Target store while trying to buy Eddie Munson merchandise, saying she was punched in the face, knocked down, and left injured.
When you finally find the Target exclusive Eddie Munson Funko Pop, but you have not one but two in your cart because you were actually surprising your great friend with one and one for yourself, like a good human would. So far and behold, I got punched in the face by a man at Target. This has healed. This is worse. I have like a little bump on my nose. It's not a pimple. I got punched, so my black eye has gotten better. This hurts like shit because I wear glasses. So yeah, again, I got punched, knocked out, didn't get any of the Funko Pops or the Eddie Munson ones because this creepy ass guy got both. Target, bring them back and do better, please.
In later videos, the severity of the incident seemed to fluctuate. Details changed, evidence never appeared. The Funko Pops were gone, but the story remained, retold with heightened emotion each time. And this wasn't an isolated incident. Sarah frequently described extreme events happening to her: violent confrontations, near-death experiences, public humiliation, and unbelievable coincidences, all delivered directly to camera, often without witnesses or documentation. Critics began compiling clips, pointing out contradictions between older and newer versions of the same stories. One of the most discussed examples involved a childhood accident. Sarah claimed she had been struck by a vehicle as a teenager, leaving her in a coma and permanently altering her brain development. Later, the story changed. The vehicle became a different type, the injuries less severe. Eventually, a family member publicly disputed her version of events, stating the incident was minor and that Sarah had exaggerated its impact.
There are hundreds, actually, that you could, like, camp out on and be safe. So, one day, I was just eating my apple and my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and she decided to punch me in the spine. It wasn't cool of her. I don't know why she punched me in the spine, but she did. And, I went to the tall pier. Like, you could climb this tall rock. So I sat on the edge of this rock just to try to cool off. And, yeah, I accidentally dropped my apple in the Hudson River, and I wasn't even done eating it, so it sucks I lost my apple. But, when, we got back, it started to rain on the Hudson River, so we were, like, trying to canoe back as fast as possible to the shore. It was, like, maybe, I don't know, 30 meters from the island to the shore, and our canoe, my canoe that I wasn't canoeing. I was sitting in the middle because I was a big girl. They wanted me to sit in the middle. And the canoe flipped over, and I tried swimming with my life vest, but what I found out when Emily hit my spine, which is dead center, she kind of moved one of my vertebrae. Like, she punched me so hard in the spine that it moved one of my vertebrae. So I was in a life vest just floating in the Hudson River. And when someone pulled me ashore, which is just one of the older, like, counselors, I said I need to go to a hospital, and they didn't believe me. So I literally got hypothermia, I got sick, and my spine was purple.
But perhaps more concerning than the stories themselves was Sarah's relationship with truth. She repeatedly claimed connections to public figures, distant cousins, backstage access, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, only for online users to later challenge those claims with timelines, photos, and basic fact-checking. Each time, the explanation shifted: misunderstandings, mistakes, people twisting her words. At a certain point, it stopped feeling random. It felt habitual. And the internet noticed. What began as fascination with an unconventional creator slowly turned into collective skepticism. Reaction videos appeared. Commentary channels took interest. Old clips resurfaced, now viewed through a very different lens. Still, Sarah remained unfazed. She continued posting, continued live streaming, continued insisting that people misunderstood her, that critics were cruel, obsessed, or jealous. In her view, The problem wasn't the stories, it was the audience's refusal to believe them. But the deeper people looked, the clearer it became that Eddie Munson wasn't the real story. He was a symbol, a shield,